Our visas had expired in Nepal, so it was time to leave. So we took a short 1-hour flight to Delhi in India. Remember, travelling is the only way to live. I always like to start my presentation with need to know. There's quite a lot of need to know as far as India is concerned. I'll read a few out to you, but if you ever want to take a copy of this slide, please feel free to do so. First fact, there's 1.4 billion people in India, so you'll never ever be in a quiet location. Visas, when you get there, you normally get a 30 to 90 day visa. I fully recommend you get it in advance. You can get it on arrival, but normally if you do, you get a shorter one. Drink bottled water only, or filtered water. Do not drink out of the taps. On the second slide is a few fun facts about India. I thought this one was quite amusing. India has the world's highest post office, so I guess they invented airmail. Further down the list here, the Hindu calendar is one of the oldest continuous calendars in existence. India has more vegetarians than the rest of the world combined. I eat meat, so I'll agree with that. The Golden Temple in Amritsar feeds 10,000 people daily. That's 10,000 meals served for free. When Lorraine and I were there, it was 10,002. This was our travel plan. And of course you have to take into consideration there's 1.4 billion people in India. So if you book anything, the trains, etc., book them at least a week in advance. Here's a few more simple rules when you're traveling through countries like India. Don't have anything of any value. Watches, bracelets, necklaces, nope, they're a no-no. Computers, no. Anything that you don't want to lose, you don't take with you. After a couple of years of travelling, Lorraine and I travelled with just one backpack between us, and we were both of the opinion that if anybody stole our backpack, they would give it back to us out of sympathy. We travelled a lot on the trains, and there's simple rules to follow. You only book first or second class, as the doors on those departments are closed to all these people who are travelling in third class. First and second class are very, very comfortable and very, very safe. Nothing to worry about. We even travelled overnight on first and second class. It did cross my mind, what does India do with these trains when they've reached the point that they don't work anymore? A couple of years later, we were travelling through Egypt, and I got the answer to my question as to what India do with their trains. This was our first morning in Delhi, and that's Lorena and her sister Jasmine riding on a camel. They decided if the trains weren't safe, camels were the answer. I took the hump with their camel idea and decided we'd go upmarket with a scooter. The next morning, the three of us wandered through the streets of Delhi, and as you can see, they're very, very busy. If you look at the photograph on the left and the right, one question that always goes in my mind is, does that wiring really work? And if anything stops, how on earth do you solve it? If you check out the centre photograph, that's a body being carried along the Ganges. Eventually it'll reach a point where it will be burned in sacred wood, and then the ashes are thrown into the Ganges. I also discovered that the sacred cows, when they're passed on, they were put into the Ganges as well. We eventually went to a Hindu temple, and I asked the question of the religious leader there, if you were putting all of these dead bodies into the Ganges, was it safe for people to be bathing in there? Would they not get infected? The religious man looked at me in total disbelief that I should have asked such a stupid question. And he said, no, of course not. No one has ever become ill from bathing in the Ganges. The Ganges is a sacred river. As you can see from this slide, there's some incredible, beautiful buildings in Delhi. The photograph on the bottom right had me confused. That's a stepwell. What's it for? Originally it was a water collection place, but of course now that we have modern equipment it is no longer used. This is the Jama Mosque, and we were able to climb to the top of that minaret on the left. Why was the Taj Mahal built? And what does Taj Mahal signify? Well, it was built by the emperor because his favourite wife had died giving childbirth. Taj means crown, and Mahal was the name of his favourite wife that died, and she died giving childbirth to child number 14. I have seen many photographs of the Taj Mahal, but I have to tell you, none of them do it justice, because in real life it is absolutely amazing. And I wanted to get as many photographs from all different angles. And the one in the top left-hand corner was from the other side of the river, the back of the Taj Mahal. And it looks just as good from the back as it does from the front. The other thing I came to discover was that the Taj Mahal actually changes colour throughout the day due to the sunlight and the moonlight. The photograph in the bottom right hand corner is inside the Taj Mahal. Those two tombs are the Emperor and Mahal. The Emperor's other wives are buried in tombs outside of the Taj Mahal. The biggest tomb that's out there is the Mahal's favourite lady-in-waiting. Now when I think about the Taj Mahal, I think about it as a monument to true love. Here are 3 random photographs of the 10,000 or so Jasmine and Lorena took while we were there. The thing that makes the Taj Mahal quite unique is that every individual stone is beautifully carved. I created this video to show you the details of the carved stone. When you leave the Taj Mahal, take a right and walk for about a mile to the Agra Fort. Here's a few more photographs of the Agra Fort. From Agra, we jumped on the train to Jaipur. Back in 1876, a visit by Edward, Prince of Wales, prompted the Maharaja to paint the city pink as a sign of welcome, and it's now been known as the Pink City. Another reason for visiting Jaipur is there's a direct train line to the city of Amritsar, and we wanted to see the Golden Temple. As you can see in the photograph at the bottom, I got the opportunity to drive a tuk-tuk around India. Very brave decision on my part. This is why we travelled overnight on the train to see the Golden Temple. I made friends with the high priest, and for 10 minutes I was a Hindu. It was well worth the journey. The Golden Temple is spectacular, and as you can see from these photographs, Lorena's hair had to be covered while we were in this city.
Vaheguru, Vaheguru, this is the house of the Guru.
A short distance from Amritsar is the Pakistani border, and every afternoon the Pakistani soldiers and the Indian soldiers put on a display. The man on the horse is Raoul Johar. He was the chieftain of the Rathore clan, who established the area and the fort in 1459 as his capital. We stayed here for 3 days, which gave us the opportunity to enjoy the many different sights in and around this area. This was formerly a palace, but in 1971 it was changed into a hotel. Lorraine and I decided we'd like to see what it was like inside. So we took the ferry boat across and we looked around, and it was $700 a night. We had a cup of coffee and then we got the boat back. If you decide to go to India, you will see things that you would never ever believe. Things like cows. Cows are considered sacred in Hinduism, and frequently we were in traffic jams because a cow was lying in the middle of the road and nobody would move it. I once watched a cow in a little village walk up the street and walk into each of the shops, get fed, come out and go to the next shop. When he got to the end of the street, he turned round and did it all again. Had to be the smartest cow I've ever seen in my life. The thing I found out about India does not show itself to you. It actually throws itself at you in full colour and volume. It is quite a fascinating place to be. The end. We really hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as we have enjoyed the last 14 years of travelling the world. Travelling, the only way to live.